What if I promised you that you could replace your income in the next 6 months? Would you do it? First off, I would actually never make that promise. But if I could go back in time and give a younger Kai version some self-advice, I would have retired off my first property at 21 years old instead of the ripe old age of 30 years old. Bet the farm on crypto. Now I'm just joshing you. The secret is something called land hacking, and if you're lucky enough, venue hack. Now this is what I'm talking about. Now meet two of my clients, a nice little couple named Matt and Blaine, who happen to own 46 acres down in the south in Stone Mountain, Georgia. They bought this piece of property about 3 years ago as their primary residence with something called a co-op land loan, which is kind of like a 30-year fixed mortgage with slightly higher interest rates. Now the entire property was purchased for under $500,000, but it did require 25% down because of that co-op land loan. Now get this, they even got married on the property. We'll dig more into that in a little bit here. Well, a couple years later, their family continues to grow, and they started thinking it'd be pretty cool to have a campsite out back for us to use with all this land. So I got a $200 safari tent off Facebook Marketplace. Matt built a very DIY little platform and structure for that tent, and even a fancy little bucket with a bunch of sawdust for a commode, which is basically a bathroom. After building all this out over a couple of weeks, Matt and Blaine decided to list it on Airbnb just to see if anybody had any interest renting out their space. And as they say, the rest was history. Matt and Blaine had originally invested a total of $8,000 to build out their entire area, including the bathroom. Now this happened last June, and we're about a year later, and they've been sitting at about 80 to 90% occupancy rate and planning to bring in over $40,000 in gross revenues in their first year. Pretty dang good return. So if this is your first video with me, this is the basics of land hacking. One site pays for all of your fixed period expenses and even provides you income. And as you create more sites and expand and grow, the cash flow drops straight into your bank account. So now they're looking at repeating their success with their first site and creating several more sites on about 15 acres out of that original 46. And they're even looking at potentially building out a wedding venue and event center, which is venue hacking. And as I said in my previous videos, the ROIs on these things when you land hack is absolutely insane. And it's twofold. But by the way, make sure you twofold that like button just so we please the YouTube gods today. Thanks. So the first fold is that it's crazy inexpensive to get up and going. A standard setup can be as low as $2,000 all the way up to maybe $10,000 plus, really depending on how crazy you want to get with your first site. Regardless though, these tents or glam sites can create and generate even more money than full Airbnbs or full home Airbnbs inside or closer to the city. And the second fold is that scaling is way faster and way easier than traditional real estate. It's very difficult to scale one single family home at a time. Each time you buy a new property, you have to negotiate, get financing, closing costs, taxes, and not to mention the hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars to buy said property. Putting up a tent or a temporary structure on your property makes just as much money with none of that headache. The secret here is scalability. It's really easy, you just need to follow my simple 6-step process of GZPRIM. GZPRIM. Y'all know I'm horrible with acronyms by now. I'm sorry. It's GZPRIM. It stands for Golden Triangle, which is basically, are you located in the right area? Zoning and permits, are you zoned and can you get the right permits to do what you want to do legally? P is property with a house, which means that you need a structure or dwelling unit on the property that is appraisable so you can get a conventional loan. R is right surroundings. Are there neighbors? What's the smell like? What's the view like? Is there road noise, trees, acreage, size, all of that. I is infrastructure, which is pretty straightforward. It's utilities, parking area, road access. And then M, perhaps the most important thing of everything when it comes to Airbnb or short-term rentals, is management. You need the systems to run your little mini empire. I have videos on all of these, so just go check out my channel. Probably the most 6 or 7 most recent videos. Or you can go to my website and you can download free guides and my spreadsheets that I use to analyze properties, look for areas, and the best structures that gives you the best return. Feel free to snatch them up. Listen to me here and let my past dumb mistakes help teach you a lesson. Hands down, the fastest way for us normal folks to actually increase our net worth is through real estate, more specifically equity. And I'm not talking about that 6% year-over-year average of appreciation by owning a piece of property. I'm talking more about creating $100,000 to $300,000 in real equity within a 3 to 6 month time period. People often think of remodeling as something they do for their own aesthetic purposes, and if it increases the equity of the home, great. If it doesn't, it's okay because they like the new style. Now, that's not a bad way to think if you have enough money. Now, when it comes to money, I had a business professor that told me that there's only two problems. You have too much or you have too little. You get to decide which camp you're in. When you retile a bathroom because you're tired of the 90s and you want to make it more hip and cool and have a cool place to stay, you might increase your equity and the value of your home. Not bad. But when you remodel or build a bathroom for an income generating rental on that same said property, you're building equity and cash flows. That's the difference. Everyone's dream is to retire with a full bank account. But if I were to ask you right now, what exactly is that number that you need to hit in order to retire this moment, this very second? I don't think very many of you would know what that number is. My number is $11,000. That's how much I need to make each year, or roughly $950 a month, in order to sustain my lifestyle in a perpetuity. Now, that does not include medical expenses as I get older or inflation, which I did calculate into things. But for the purposes of this video, $11,000 is my golden number. Now, using that number, you can start working backwards to set up your strategy. There's really three key ways of doing this. You either have that number in terms of pure cash, assets, or cash flows. You guys know me, I personally like safety nets and several layers of protection. I did it with all three, meaning that I'll always have a level of security that pays all of my living expenses into perpetuity or for the rest of my life. But remember, I'm just a silly has-been surfer that doesn't require a lot. Tell me what you think your number is, realistically. So tying this all together so nobody accuses me of clickbait because I've been putting my girlfriend in my thumbnails lately. With one wise property purchase, zoning, you can set yourself up for a significant increase in net worth and a level of income streams that not only allows you to quit your day job, but even retire early, which is exactly what I did along with several other people from all around the globe. And there's still plenty of space in this market space for others like yourself to jump in and learn how to start land hacking to not only improve your own lifestyle and livelihood, but also to be able to get rid of that 9-to-5 job. Now, if you like how that sounds, go and get the free guides and spreadsheets on my website on how to find land and which structures gives you the best ROI. This will also get you on the wait list for my future land hacking program as I release it perhaps in the next couple months. Fingers crossed. And if you're really serious about jumping in this world of land hacking, venue hacking, glamping, container homes, building a house from raw land, then definitely set up a consultation. I'm still booking some time. You can find my calendar just down below and we can discuss all the fun stuff from permitting, zoning, financing, and red flags. And by now, you probably know the drill. Like and subscribe to the channel. Other than that, I love you guys all. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.